What up, people? Prince Foggy, Prince Fuad here. Ain't going anywhere. I got two special guests today. I got the main man Vandy, and I got the
What's up? What's up?
marvelous I got the main man, and I got the marvelous Marvin Nigerian Kenny Ken. What's going on, people?
All good, all good. What are you saying, fool?
The main man Vandy. I'm good, man. How are you, marvelous Marvin? Kenny.
Um. Oh yeah. So Marvin's Marvin. I don't know, man. I've got the tash and probably a little bit of the Fu Manchu, but I haven't really got his. I need to cut my hair more often. But yeah, God bless his soul. He's one. I still regard him one of my favourite fighters of all time, and he's easily out of all the quartet of greats. You know, from that era, welterweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight, he was superior to Sugar Ray, superior to Roberto, and he was definitely superior to all the other fighters in that Thomas as well. So for me, Marvel's Marvin. He's one of those fighters you only appreciate when he's gone.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. So, you want to talk about a bit of football over the weekend? Okay, what do you think of the game, the football over the weekend?
I was actually at Hounslow. I was actually in Hounslow, and it was. I must admit, one thing is if you synchronise your trains from North London and synchronise the tube and synchronise the train from Waterloo to Kew Bridge outside Brentford's Grand, I reckon you could do it in about 40 minutes. No word of a lie. If you proper synchronisation, I exaggerate, 50 minutes. If everything comes on time, and everything virtually did come on time to a certain extent, because I probably only had to wait maybe 15 minutes at Vauxhall for the train to get to Kew Bridge where Brentford play, and it's just finding the right Arsenal pub. But I have to admit, last season when fans were saying like the atmosphere is great at grounds, everyone's together, I always got the impression that we were missing football because of the COVID, and because we were forced to have the rest because of the like social distancing and everything. And I thought fans were just glad to be there because, in my eyes, it wasn't a great season. But I have noticed that a lot of Arsenal fans, because I've been to 2 away games, been every home game. The atmosphere is great. Fans are enjoying the brand of football they're watching, and they are very, very much enjoying the results as well. And you know, we all got behind the team at Man United. We weren't upset as such when we lost to Man United because we felt we were the better side. So at the moment, things are good. But I think one thing about Arsenal fans, they're educated or they either suffer, past sufferers. We're not getting carried away. Although I did say in my fan cam with Lee that if we carry on playing football like this, the top four shouldn't be the limit. You've got to expect more than that, winning a trophy, getting a challenge, because you can't play this well. And if you do it over 38 games and have no trophy show for it. But, you know, as I'm sure you guys are going to say, bigger tests await us.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, Vandy, what do you think of the games over the weekend, Vand?
well, yo, you guys, man, Arsenal impressing me big time, man. Like I said last week, when we talked about the United game, I felt like you played well. First 15 minutes, we were on top. Hit us with our goal that should have stood really. Let's be honest, and I think that just changed the momentum of the game. And then after that, pretty much you guys were dominating, and then we just hit you on the counter with a couple of times. So you guys are impressing me, man. Listen, the level when Party come back into the team. Listen, I haven't been his biggest fan. I thought he's been a bit too inconsistent, but watching you guys against Brentford on the weekend, when he's back in the team and the difference he makes to that team, the quality he brings in, like if he stays fit for the remainder of the season, that's a big plus for you guys, man. Because trust me, he's a quality player, man, and you're looking good, man. And like everyone's saying, oh, it's only this team, but all you got to do is beat what's in front of you. So you're doing it, and look, there's Man City dropping points. They drop points against Villa. United have got beat twice. So while everyone else is arguing about this team, and dropping points here, there, and everywhere, you guys keep collecting these wins. Top four, like you mentioned earlier, is a minimum for you guys.
Yeah. It does. It says, Fig, did you watch the Tottenham game? you watch the Tottenham game? They played all right, didn't they were. I think Leicester had the better. Leicester battered on the ball, but they just took their chances. That's how I seen it.
And well, you guys got them next, so I think it's a big game. But then, do you know what? Because it's at your ground, I don't see it as like every time they come to the Emirates, I just see it as like Arsenal get 3 points, bro. Like it's just something about Tottenham within their DNA. Wait, there's my guy gone, is that? Oh no, he's still there. Yeah, no, there's something about Tottenham when they come to the Emirates, man. They just can't get a result, bro. So I see it as a win for you guys as well, and just more momentum gathering. But look, Tottenham did what they did, but it wasn't a 6-2 game, that's for sure. It definitely wasn't a 6-2 game.
Yeah, it wasn't. All right, should let's get into the main topics now. Let's get into it now, innit? The Eubanks, the Benz is kicking off, boy, and Chris Eubank is overconfident. Did you see that? What he said? I'm only gonna have
60%.
50% and 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
2 weeks off. What's it called?
It's all my games, though, man. It's all mind games. It's all mind games, bro. That's all he's doing, bro. But I got him as a big favorite. Like I said, I think the size difference is just too much. He's naturally too big. I'm not saying he's a better all-round boxer than Ben, but just the size is too big. And if it wasn't for the names, I think this would be classed as a mismatch, to be totally honest. It's just the names. Obviously, when are you ever going to have two fighters that their fathers have had like wars back in the day, and now their sons are fighting? This never happens, never will probably happen again. So for this to happen, I think that's why it's such a big fight, is because more of the name. If you look at the actual, there's a guy fighting at 147. There's a guy that's fought at 168 to 160. I think the weight is just too much, and the size will be just too much at the end of the day. Ben will do well for a couple of rounds, but I think when it goes later, I think he's in trouble.
What do you think, Ken?
Well, perversely, if I was looking Eddie, if I was to be like bad Eddie, not good Eddie, I think, well, Boxer finally delivered Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. That's a fight everyone wanted to deliver, and I'm sure Eddie Hearn, who was Kell Brook's former and promoter, would love to deliver that. So the public were always asking for, their fathers to fight again. I don't know, it's some sort of exhibition. So if you want to rival Khan versus Brook, what better way is to get the sons to fight?
Yeah.
Because Eddie could argue that Khan versus Brook, one was one was fighting a middleweight, but one was really one was let's face it, a welterweight, and the other one was up until the sort of upper welterweight. You know what I mean? So it was a case one fights at 10 stone, the other one was going to fight at 11.5 stone, and then so basically what was happening is that you always felt that Kell Brook was a bigger man than Amir, but everyone wanted that fight because of this Lancashire, Yorkshire, Lancashire, or you got Sheffield versus Bolton, and they had this rivalry going over. You go to the Zone, massive rivalry between the fathers, but let's get the sons in, and it's probably less subtle than Khan versus Brook, but again, you've got a guy who's fought a middleweight. Let's face it,
super middleweight.
Yeah, super middleweight, and you've got a guy who I think is a bona fide welterweight, who I think, just like his dad, is going to be punching above his weight if he gets to super middleweight. I think I could see him in the future fighting at middleweight or super middleweight, because that's what his dad did. His dad was a very, very small super middleweight. But if you look at the whole situation, for me, it bastardizes their legacies, because both of them are, giving everyone a stiff neck about the fact that, well, hang on here, we're fighting for world titles. Oh, I want to put Conor Benn with the best welterweights. Chris Eubank. Oh, I'm going to fight Golovkin, Triple G. I'm going to fight this one. I'm going to fight for a world title. I'm going to fight Demetrius Andrade. What happens? You're fighting your dad's rival son, and that goes vice versa. But one of the things about reason why I can see what you say about it being a mismatch is because whether you like it or not, Chris Eubank Jr. has fought better fights than he's fought at world title level. Sorry, now that may upset a lot of people. But he's lost when he's gone up a level. Excuse me, that's the sort of thing, and I say this respectfully, that a casual would say. A casual who would just get boxing, pick it up, and then how we treat our fish, our newspapers as fish and chip, like the headlines. Don't want to read the headlines no more. Throw it away. Use it as rubbish paper. And I think that's how the casuals think. They disrespect Anthony Joshua because he's lost a couple of fights, even though he's fought at the highest level. Got beaten by a great fighter. Oh, he can't box. Deontay Wilder. Oh, he's got no. He's got no fundamentals, but he lost to a great fighter in Tyson Fury. You don't give these fighters any credit, and I think the casuals are really bad. But it's not the casuals; it's people who think they know boxing, boxing, and will do anything. And I go through people's records here and there, and I'm thinking, well, hang on here. Boxing's not about. It's not about that. You become a better fighter, whether you win, lose, or draw, if you're fighting at the highest level. And I'm sorry. Chris Eubank Jr. has fought at a high level. Don't buy into this garbage he's coming out with. He's training his nuts off. He's working his nuts off. He can't afford a 30 feet, not to Conor Benn. And Conor Benn can afford to lose against Chris Eubank Jr. because he'll use it as a stepping stone and said, right, I finally fought a proper live, world-class fighter. Because he is a world-class fighter, Chris Eubank Jr. Stop, cut this crap out. If you're fighting for world titles, even though you get beat or not, you're fighting. I mean, James DeGale held the super middleweight title twice. He's beaten him. Doesn't matter what condition James Belt is. He's beaten someone that fought at a high level. George Groves beat him. Billy Joe Saunders beat him. All three of those fighters, where he's out of 3 tests he's had, he's won one of them. They're all world class fighters. Yeah. You're going to tell me Billy Joe Saunders was crap. You tell me George Groves was crap. You're going to tell me that, James DeGale's crap.
And you can even argue with Chris Eubank that, you know what, even with Billy and Chris Groves, it wasn't like they beat him. It could have gone either way to me. I think with the first fight with Billy, I think it was a closer fight than people thought it was. And I think George Groves, he edged it. But they just gave it to George because obviously Eubank, before the fight, his tongue gets him into trouble. That's something what Chris does. But now, because he's up there with the elite, but it's the things he says to, like, I like what he says to, it's like you fought, what's his name? Is it Chris El Agri guy? What's his name?
Oh, the one that fought Pacquiao.
Yeah, he goes to him. He goes like, the man was blind or something in the ring. He was wearing glasses. You could see he was blind. He couldn't see you coming from nowhere. Like, he always got something. So, I think what he's doing to Conor, he's winding him up. And I think in a way, in a little bit, he is in his head.
Oh, he is massively. Like, even last week with his dad coming out saying, he's going to pull him out the fight because he doesn't want to lose another son. That's all mind games because these guys are thinking, actually, is this actually going to happen? This fight is 100% going on. There's too much money to be made for both of them for it not to happen. It's going to happen, but he's just playing mind games. This going out the other day for his birthday, having a cake with 60% on it and eating a cake. I'm telling you, like you mentioned earlier, that cake, as soon as he ate that cake, I bet you had to run 3-4 miles, bro. Because I heard there's 100 grand for every pound that he's over the weight. 100 grand for every pound that he's over the weight for this fight. He ain't going to give up 100 grand. No one wants to give up 100 grand for a pound of weight. So he's making that weight. Trust me. He's making that weight for sure.
I think with Chris Eubank, another thing, he's quite smart, He's really smart. Even when he talks, you can see he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Even though people call him deluded, a lot of people call him deluded, but you can see he knows what he's doing, and you can see how functioned he is. It's like how like he's screwed on. And I think I think Conor Benn's gonna win personally. I don't know why. I think Conor Benn's gonna do him, but I'm not gonna write off Chris.
How? Yeah, if you could say it, we need to know like tactics. Like we see, we
can't stop him. We can't stop him.
All right.
Yeah, Dave, if we're talking about like we're going to talk about Joyce versus Parker, and we're going to talk about Fury versus Ben. You know, we've got to, rather than say what our opinions are, we think like if we're serious boxing, man, we've got to find strengths and weaknesses. How does Conor Benn get through the reach advantage? How is he going to do it? You know what I mean? Chris Eubank Jr. has got good feet, quick reach. He's got a terrible defense, but you don't need a terrible defense if you're using your range. So how does Conor Benn overcome that? Because
I think Conor Benn will slip. I think if Eubanks, he's a lazy fighter. Every time I've seen him box, he's a lazy fighter. So I think that as he uses jab, as he's jabbing, I think Conor Benn will slip the jab and hit the body, and he'll continuously do it, and I think Eubank will gas out around the late rounds, and I think even Conor Benn might shock the world and stop him, bro.
No, I can't see him stopping him.
I can see him slipping the body shot. I can see him slipping his jab all the time because he doesn't work the jab. It's like his last fight when he fought the Walsh boy down here. What's his name? Liam Williams. It's like if Liam Williams worked the jab, if Liam Williams come on him and stuck it on him a bit more, they would have got a fight out of him. But with this boy, Conor's not going to play games, bro. Conor's coming for him. Conor's going to slip the jab, head movement, be on him all the time. He's be the aggressive. He's going to be the pressure fighter. Even though he's the bigger fella, he's still got to catch him because Conor Benn is quick, bro.
Yeah, but I just think the whole emotion of the fight's going to get to him. He may for the first couple of rounds look sharp, slip these jabs, move, get inside, bam, bam, move to the side, bam. But can you do that for 12 rounds? I don't see it happening. And I think then when you get to 6, 7, 8, it's tough rounds, and then Eubank's putting his weight on you. He's hitting you with flush shots. Like this, this is a 160 fighter now. This will be the biggest puncher he's ever fought. And I know they class him as not a massive puncher, but he's still a big puncher. He's still a 160 fighter. So a 147 fighter going against a 160 fighter, you're going to feel the difference with 10-ounce gloves. You're going to feel a difference. So for me, I think he may look sharp for the first couple of rounds, but then just natural physics and just being a bigger boxer. And it's very rarely I use size as a reason why a certain boxer will win. But I just think for me, in my head, I can't see Conor in any way stopping him or having enough to hurt him unless the weight kills him that much. I can only see Eubank winning.
I think it is with the thing is like Conor's very explosive, and he goes there, and then when he hits you hard. He puts everything into his punches, just a bit like his dad. But the thing about it, right, is that a lot of fighters, right, he's fought fighters who fought at the highest level, but they've lost. It's not a case of them losing the highest level because you can lose, but these guys have fought with these fighters. Not recently, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So again, they're not. It's not like Anthony Joshua, who's lost at the world title level, but he's carrying on fighting at the world title level because he understands the business side of it. He has to fight at that level. The same, dare I say it, Nigel Benn was doing it to a certain extent, and Chris Eubank Jr. was fighting at the highest level. The thing with Conor Benn is that if you look at it logically, and if I was Conor Benn, this is exactly what I'm going to be telling him to do it. It's going to be his feet. It's got to be explosiveness. He's got to come forward. And what he's got to come forward is he's got to throw combinations, but he has to go crouch down and get the body because he's not good going for that jab. Eubank Jr. is going to beat you that jab. If you're going to go for the jab, he'll beat you for the jab. So what you have to do is feint, and it's got to be downstairs, and get the combos on and get the pressure on, sitting in him, and then you can do it. But it's all well in saying that. You've got to remember, he can fight as well. Let's not remember his dad. His dad could fight as well. When everyone thought, "Oh, Nigel Benn's going to go in there, he's going to use his combos and get in quick," but his dad could have a tear up, and his dad can hit. And let's not forget, Chris Eubank Jr. can bang. One thing with Chris Eubank Jr., he's got very fast hands. Not so much his jab, but his uppercuts. It's like that. And they may not look like they're hurting, but they do hurt Because when when it repeatedly lands and he gets that, you want to retweet, and that's when he can kind of do his work. So Connor's got to be able to negotiate that. He's got to be able to do his feints and then try and come forward, but he has to make himself hard to hit. But he's got to go downstairs. That's the thing. He can't do what Chris Eubanks' last opponent, who's that wretched guy from was it Neath? What's his name? Liam Williams. Made an absolute press of himself. He actually rushed out for, I'm going to show it. What happened? Every time he came, bang. He was getting knocked down with jabs.
Yeah, he knocked
but it was
jabs.
Stiff jabs. It's jabs. And that's the thing. You can't, you got to exploit the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. doesn't hold his hands up. You got to be able to exploit that. But to exploit that, you have to negotiate the reach advantage. Because he wants you to come forward. He wants you to do that. He wants to jab you and then hits your right hand and then he's going to come out. And then what's happened is that once he's hurt you, he's going to come in and then come out again.
Yeah.
And he's going to actually virtually do this. And then Connor's going to come out. He's going to walk into a left hook.
Yeah, check
or
hook.
Left hook come jab. So this is what Connor's got to negotiate. He's more than happy to do it. He will take rounds off. No doubt about it. That's his DNA. But
yeah.
By the time, if Connor makes mistakes, he will put Connor on the floor.
And the thing is, we've seen Connor hit the floor as well. We've yet to see Eubank hit the floor. And Eubank's been there with Groves, who Groves is a massive puncher. Let's not take away from how big of a puncher Groves is. So to see Connor's been down twice, and I know it was early on in his career, but he's shown that he can be hurt. He's been dropped twice. Where Eubank, that chin is just something else, man. Like I said, Groves is a massive puncher. Like at 168, he is a big, big puncher. Not many could withstand Groves. Like he blasts a lot of people out at 168. So for Eubank, who's naturally more a 160-pound fighter, to go in there with a guy that's outweighing him by 10, 15 pounds on the night and still withstand them punches, that just shows how good his chin is.
Yeah, Eubank maybe he's never been rattled. I've never seen him rattled.
I don't think I've seen it, bro. Like
I've never seen.
I'm trying to think back to see. I think the closest I've seen him to being like properly hurt probably was against Groves, but apart from that, like Billy Joe didn't do nothing to him. Like he hasn't been hurt. He hasn't been hurt. Bro.
Yeah, he hasn't. But his dad was like that. His dad was like that a little bit. His dad never used to get hurt much. But he hasn't been. I've never seen him. I've never seen him get rattled, Chris Eubank.
I think it became personal with Williams because Williams as well. There was a social media garbage coming from him talking a good game. I mean, talking a good game, and despite what Dominic Ingalls says about how he doesn't rate Chris Eubank Jr. and how he was surprised how easily Williams got beaten. I don't think anyone in boxing was. There's levels to this stuff. Williams is what I call a domestic level fighter, a very good one, but but a domestic level fighter, a bit like Tommy Coyle. He fought Liam Smith, got beaten. Dimitri Andrade, using him as target practice virtually. Yes, he did have a bit of success, but you could tell there's levels between Liam Williams and class level, world title level. I'm not saying Conor Benn's there, but this is a win-win for Conor Benn. As long as he don't get smashed to pieces and it goes to 12 rounds and he loses comfortably, he will use that as experience. Eddie will sell that as, he's now ready to fight these big fights at welterweight. That's how Eddie's going to sell it.
Well, I said to Fuad the other week, because we touched on this slightly the other week about this Ben fight and what he does after. And if you look at 147, it looks like Spence and Crawford is going to happen. So one of them will be undisputed at 147. I think if Crawford wins, obviously he'll stay at the weight. But if Spence loses, I think he'll go up to 54, maybe even 60. But then I look at Conor Benn and I think, can he beat the other up-and-coming fighters at 147? Can he beat the likes of Jared Ennis, Boots from America? And I don't see it. So this will be good experience against Eubank, but will it be enough to get him to beat Boots? And I think Boots wipes the floor with him.
And I think that's the thing. That's the thing, Marvs, is that it's. I think Conor Benn's got to be one of the most unluckiest fighters. That he's in a division where there's so many good, like the top two. Yeah, you look at the top two, you know, like Spence and Crawford, who we hopefully going to fight. But then you've got Ugas.
Yeah,
bloody Ugas, and you mentioned Boots as well. You know what I mean? These are top fighters.
Yeah, there's guys coming up from 140.
There's some fighters, right? There's some fighters who want to go up there. You know, you only factored in Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor may think, you know what, I'm going to want to go fight at that level. So that's him. And there's Ramirez. There's pro grades as well who might want to go up.
Yeah, they go up to 47.
Yeah,
these are all world-class fighters who may want to go up 147. Where, you know, Conor Benn's...
It's tough. Like I said, it's tough. It's tough. You can build them up. You can build them up with Chris Algieri's. You could even chuck him in there with Adrian Broner if he ever decides to fix up and want to fight again. But then that jump from that level fighter then to the next level fighter is a big jump. It's not a small jump. Like I said, Boots to the casual fan isn't known yet. But he's going to be the future of 147, I think.
But Vandy, at the same time, you got to figure if Crawford beats, Spencer or Spence, I think Crawford might retire because he got nothing else to prove, isn't he? He got no one else out there. So
I know.
And I think if Crawford say he retires, all right, Crawford because he's getting to that age now at 147, I think Lomachenko will come down to 1. They'll all go back to 147. Haynes. Caboso, they all want to fight at 147 because they can all make that weight.
Yeah, the thing is, look, if he retires after that Spence fight, like the belts are free for everywhere. So in boxing is always, you know, to the highest bidder. So you know Eddie Hearn can bid big. He did it for Joshua's first fight when he won that world title against Charles Martin. He paid big. He took a loss on that fight. He paid Charles Martin something like £4 or £5 million to come over here just to secure that belt, to then secure even more. Like that belt then kicked Joshua on even further because he wasn't the IBF mandatory, I don't think, at the time, but I just think he got paid the biggest money and he just went for it and took it. So if Crawford retires and leaves all them belts for everyone to go for, it wouldn't surprise me if Conor Benn gets the title. But then does he beat the top young guys coming up or the other guys that he doesn't fight like that he'd have to unify with? I don't think he does.
Yeah, it is a date because at 147 there's a lot of people who can make that weight there. You know, it's like but I think the best person is like what weight's Camboso? He's 147 or is he 150?
So no, Camboso's 35, but they're going into, they can touch 40 and bro, everyone in and around that weight can go up and down. They can all fluctuate.
Yeah, they can all fluctuate that weight. That weight, that weight there, they can all make it. It's like what, like,
and even the ones like at 140 and 135, they're looking to go up now because Severson, Shakur, he's coming up in weight as well, and none of these guys want any trouble with him. Because he beats probably the lot of them, to be fair. So, this bro, and then even one, for example, Tank. We haven't seen Tank. He fought at 140. He could make 147 as well. Like they can all interchange weight, but I think they're all trying to just find their way to avoid the elite, and just try and win titles at certain weights. But
yeah, like we're trying to say. Is they're all waiting for the Nigerian nightmare? What's his name? Crawford, isn't it? To retire because they know. I tell you no, and none of them have beaten Crawford. Not even Errol Spence. Crawford is the baddest, bro.
Come on, fool.
Yo, Crawford is the baddest.
No, listen. Listen. Crawford's a killer, man. Crawford's a killer.
And then once he beats Errol Spence, he's gonna say, "Come on, you all time it is."
No. Listen. Spence is a dog, man. Let's not downplay Spence.
I read.
Dog, man.
No, Errol Spence is bad, but
for me,
sorry. No,
go.
go on. If I was like Crawford, I'll just aim for the eyes. Go for the eyes, mate.
Yeah.
We know he's got he's had operations on his retina.
Yeah.
You know, the wily fighter. That's my like I said, the thing with Crawford as well. He can fight either, you know, like he can either fight southpaw or like orthodox. So basically, what you can do is that jab's going in his face all day long, mate. All day long, I'm testing those eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fight though that everyone wants to see in it. But I just use Crawford to do it, man.
Listen, I think this is the type of fight that we could have a trilogy. I really do. I really think we could have a trilogy. This is a massive fight. This should happen a couple of years back. But these are the two biggest names at the welterweight. They're two top quality fighters that beat everyone else in welterweight. So I think they need to just hurry up and fight each other now, because also these young guns are coming up, man. Crawford isn't getting any younger as well. Crawford's not a spring chicken that he used to be. So I think
that's why a lot of people waiting on him to fight Errol Spence, but a lot of people think, oh, if Errol Spence doesn't, we got a chance. But it's not going to happen, bro. I know you're the Errol Spence fan. But
I am, man. I'm a big
I know
fan.
you are. But, bro, I brought this to you because Crawford's dealing with him, bro. Crawford's dealing with him.
You know it is, guys, right? I think when we talk about boxers' ages, let's not forget the fights we're going to talk about later. You know, one of the guy from Putney, you know, he's only had 14 fights, but he's going to be 37 at the end of this year. You know, 37. He hasn't fought for a world title yet. Let's not forget. There's a fighter who fought in the Olympic Games, got a bronze heavyweight title. He must be in his 30s as well. So what's happening? Sports science is going in such a way that they're now athletes. You know, it's not a case, just get out and fight. Let's remember, they trained really hard. Really hard, got ready for the fight. But now they're athletes, 24/7, 12 months a year, 52 weeks a year. And the thing about it is that you just don't know when they're going to retire. Obviously, you're talking, maybe in 40, but but the thing about it is you just don't know nowadays with boxers. Anthony Joshua's 33. He's still got a few years ahead of him. If he gets his titles back. Tyson Fury has got a few years ahead of him. They talk about wear and tear, and they say, but I've been fighting for 11. Yeah, but let's see. When you were 11, you weren't fighting high-level fights. You're only fighting for, if you're lucky, 3 2-minute rounds. When you fought in the amateurs, it's probably 3 rounds. Then when you started 6 rounds, so you've built yourself up to the highest level. You weren't fighting 12 rounds when you were 11, were you? And that's not disgraceful. Maybe it's the pressure and the discipline, and that's probably why they want to retire. But in terms of like where they are now, sportsmen at all levels, especially physical levels, all athletes now. Even golfers are athletes.
Yeah.
I find a lot of boxers, Ken and Grant, they hit their prime. A lot of boxers hit their prime when they're about 34, 35, 36, 37.
Well, it's a lot later than it used to be.
Yeah.
A lot later than it used to be.
Like why I say 35, because I remember when Ali said, Ali, like I was saying in an interview, a lot of boxers hit their prime at 33 because you've got the experience behind you. You already know what it takes to win. And then you already know what the other guy's going to do if he's younger than you. Yeah. So you're in your prime when you're young, like when you're 33. It's like when Joe Calzaghe was in his prime when he was like 35. Bernard Hopkins is another one. Bernard Hopkins hit his prime at 35.
Yeah,
and he went on, and so what Kenny said
is they use their man strength on the younger ones. So
so that's why you're in your prime. You're in your prime when you're 35 because your brain's your brain is in the right set. You've experienced it. You know what you're doing. So everything, all your body, you know what it takes. You're in your prime when you're 35, 36, 37, 38. That's when boxers retire like 38. But 33, they say 33 to 38. They say you're in your prime. Because you experience
the difference is now these boxers they look after themselves like you mentioned earlier, just all year round. It's not just have a fight, 8-week training camp, 12-week training camp, and then blow up in weight. Like a lot of these guys stay round fight weight.
Mm.
Yeah, let's
Like
get into
Crotch, innit?
Joseph Parker. Joseph
Oh,
Parker versus the London boy, Joyce.
This is a war,
that
man.
that.
That's a war.
Well, you say it's the thing. That's the thing. You know, best thing Joseph Parker probably did is that he's probably getting a. He felt he was getting stale under Keith Barry, and he thought he needed to take himself away from his comfort zone. He's now changing with Andy Lee, and Andy Lee, like, very respected trainer, very good trainer, and you know Joseph Parker's added a bit of power to his repertoire, planting his feet, and you know he's always had good boxing skills, but.
Yeah.
He didn't have the aggression because, let's face it, Dillian White absolutely smashed it to pieces.
Yeah.
Beat him comfortably and outmanned him. You know what I mean? Everyone talks about Dillian run out of gas, but let's face it, that was one of the most one-sided fights I've ever seen. But he's improved since then. You know what I mean?
I think against Dillian White. I think in the last four, from the 7th round, he won every round. Joseph Parker. I think Dillian White. But it was too late then. But you know what? When he knocked him down, I thought he was gone. Yo, I thought he was gone.
Yeah,
and that's the thing with Joseph Parker is which Parker's turning up.
Yeah.
Because the Parker who fought Ruiz was in a war. Do you see when he fought Ruiz?
Well, he's going to be in a war. He's going to be a war on Saturday. He's going to be in a war on Saturday because what's happening is that he needs to understand one thing, right? Joe Joyce is going to eat his punches. And sometimes I look at fighters, I said, why don't you go for his body? Why are you getting the show punches off? Why you know, because what's happening is that I've never seen someone, you know, jab to the, you know, right to the chest and then go down on him and boom, boom, boom and move him around. They're all stationary when they fight Joe Joyce. You know, Daniel White, stationary. But you know, you're fighting with one of the best trainers and a skillful trainer. You're fighting with Tyson Fury. Surely Tyson Fury's going to tell Joseph Parker, fighting triangles, move him around. Yeah, he's got a good engine. Blah blah. Look what Usyk did to him in the amateurs. Moved him around.
Beat him up bad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a war. The only thing is, we haven't really seen Parker for a while at elite level, but then he's been training down there with Fury, etc. So I don't know. We know what we're going to get from Joe Joyce. What we're going to get from Joseph Parker, that's going to be the question. I think it's more to that rather than because Joe Joyce is always going to be the same Joe Joyce. He's just going to come forward, he's going to eat your shots, and then he's going to put it on you. But what can Parker do? Like what's Parker got left? Because look, he can box, he can bang as well. He got a bit of everything, but
it's a jab, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think one thing about Joe Joyce is that the thing about it is that his jabs are just as painful as his punches because he puts so much into the jab.
It's like a thud rather than a He doesn't. He throws it with bad intention.
Yeah, because the thing is, he puts everything into it. Like it's not like boom boom. It's everything he's planting his feet with a jab, and even sometimes, right? It's like that, but sometimes it's like that as well. So it's a jab come left hook, and it's a pay for one, and that's where Joseph Parker again. He's got to win the battle of the jabs, and he's got to throw not just a jab 1-2, 1-2, but he's got to move, you know. But he is going to get hit by Joe Joyce. But what I've done is the thing with Joe Joyce, he can't keep coming forward, and you're standing square on. You have to be side on. You have to footwork has to be good against him.
Yeah, Joe Joyce boxes in straight lines. He goes forward in a straight line. He goes back in a straight line. So if you look at that, you think, oh, okay. Look at what Usyk. I'm not sure why more people haven't. I know you can't naturally just do what Usyk does off the bat, but you just watch that fight and think, okay, if he's coming forward in a straight line, as soon as he throws that first straight punch, I'm going to move to the side and I'm going to hit him with a combo and move to the other side. Because by the time he's even reset, then he has to go in a straight line again. Joe Joyce doesn't move with angles. So if you move with angles, you cause him all kind of trouble.
I think, you know what, Joe Joyce, do you know why I think Scott Parker will beat him comfortably? Because Scott Parker, the last guy he fought, Joe Joyce, all right, Do you know what he was doing? Joe Joyce, as he was coming in direct, the guy was always catching him with the same punch, an overhand right. Overhand right.
Yeah.
And Joseph and Joe Joyce, it wasn't like he was saying, he was saying in the thing, I won't do the same mistake. But you can't change your style. Your style is going to be correct. So I think with Joseph, what he'll do, he'll first overhand right him, then he'll come in the inside because he's good in the inside too. And then he's going to shock a lot of people, Joseph Parker. I think he's going to give him boxing.
My only worry is, Fu, is a lot of these guys can do that, but then can they do? Because look, this is going 12 rounds. I don't see Joe Joyce getting stopped. So can you withstand his pressure, him thudding you, him hitting you with a hard jab for 12 rounds? That's my only worry. If it was a 6, 8, 10, even 10 round fight, I'm saying all day Parker wins this fight. But 12 rounds?
But you know what it is, though, Van? I'll tell you what it is, and every boxer knows this. It doesn't, okay, even if he got a chin, all right, if he catches him, if he outboxes him for 6 rounds, he's winning the fight. Only reason
that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, because he'll come unstuck because he ain't got no other platform. The only thing he'll have to go, you lose his head and go for him. And if you go for someone like Joseph Parker and he's slick and I've seen him box down here. He was quick against Joshua. He was rapid. And like I think if he does that against Parker, are we boxing like the last time? Parker will do him.
Yeah,
Parker will do him. And people don't be surprised if he does it. People say, "Oh, I'm shocked."
One thing about Joe Joyce as well that people tend to neglect, he has got the physical fitness to fight for 12 rounds.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things you can't afford to take rounds off against him.
Yeah,
even if you think you're winning the fight, don't take it for granted. There's always one judge who likes to make it closer than it deserves to be.
Yeah.
We've seen it in a couple of fights where we've seen like unanimous decisions become split decisions. I think. Andy Joshua fought very well in Saudi Arabia, but was it a split decision?
No, never.
Well, I loved it. So what did Joshua win? But he won a split decision. And I think that's the thing. You can't take.
Yeah.
If you think, you got to remember one thing about boxing, right? Boxers box, refs referee, judges judge.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think about whether we think a fighter's won the fight or not, whether the fighter thinks it, whether the pundits think it, it's still up to the judges. They're the ones scoring it, and it's their interpretations. You know what I mean? And that's why you've got to take it out of their hands. I think, Parker has to take it out of the judges' hands because if it's close, it's going to go to Joe.
Yeah, of course. Because it's on BT. It's on BT Sport. Yeah. It's on BT Sport, so obviously
box office.
Yeah.
BT Sport box office, isn't it?
So that's what I mean. So in terms of like home fighter,
it's on BT. Yeah. It's on BT Sports, www.linkpark. And if you want a whole bag in, I'll give you the whole bag in, bro. I'll inbox you later, bro. But I think Kenny's right though. What he said, you can't rely on the judges. Joseph got to go in there because whoever wins this fight now gets the title shot.
Mm-hmm.
They're the number one in IBF or Ring Magazine, I think, isn't he? So
yeah,
it's a lot. It's
my only worry and thing about everyone saying like whoever wins this will get the title shot next. I don't see it because what if Fury fights Joshua, and then they it's a close fight and then they have a rematch, or Usyk fights Wilder and they have 2 fights. It could be another year or 2 until they get a title shot.
I make you right, 100% right, because I think what's happening is that Suleiman loves Tyson Fury. What Tyson Fury wants, Tyson Fury gets.
Yeah,
and Tyson Fury wants to fight Joshua, no problem. 64, no problem. Diamond belt, no problem, because it's right. Suleiman loved Deontay Wilder. And his second fight was Tyson Fury. So what Tyson Fury wants, Tyson Fury get. And Tyson Fury's about money now. He's not he knows full well that the money fight is Joshua. Even if Joshua lost to Usyk, it was always Joshua.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
it was an inconvenience. Usyk beating Joshua twice is an inconvenience.
And
You know,
and I think the way he looks at it as well is if he was to then beat Usyk, people will say, well, you should beat Usyk. You're twice the size of him. You're twice the weight of him. Where you can actually go fight Joshua even after 2 losses and a bounce and probably still get more credit to beating Joshua, like if he knocks him out, than he would beat Usyk. And he gets paid more. So
and Usyk can beat him.
Yeah.
Usyk's got the skills to beat him. And, you know, he's one of those fighters. Usyk's proved he can hurt fighters at that level.
Yeah,
let's not forget that Joshua got hurt in the first fight.
Do you know what I think? I'm going to say something really mad now, and a lot of people might not think. But you know, like with Joshua, he wasn't aggressive towards Usyk. But the second fight, I think he was very close. But I think, do you know if Usyk fought, and I know it's going to sound mad, Joseph Parker, I think Parker will be the one to say welcome to heavyweight division. Because he will go at him. Because even Channing Chisora made him struggle. Just come at him for 12 rounds. But with Joseph Parker, he'll come at him with boxing skills. So
yeah, but
I think that fight's going to be happening.
He's still had enough to beat Chisora.
But can
you
he,
know what I mean?
Can he one outbox a boxer? I don't think he can. And that Chisora fight, like I think I even mentioned it the last time we talked as well. If you listen to that without the commentary, it's not actually as close as you think it is. Because when I watched it first, listening to the commentary, I'm thinking, fuck me, this is close. Then I rewatched it, and I was like, actually, this wasn't as close as I fucking thought it was initially. Because all Chisora was doing was coming out strong for the first 30 seconds, and then for the last 30 seconds, he was going strong. So in your head, the first thing you think of the round is fucking hell. Chisora started quick, and the last thing you think about is fucking hell. Chisora ended strong, but everything in between, he was doing fuck all.
Yeah, okay. But I see. I watched when I watched the Joshua fight again, the second one with Usyk. Bro, I swear to God, the fight was close, bro.
No, listen, it was a lot closer. Joshua had him in trouble in the 9th, but then I don't know where he got this recovery from. But in the 10th round, he put it on Joshua again. But Joshua was still. You could still see Joshua overthinking too much about what punch to throw next. Against fighters like that, you can't think too much because by the time you think, okay, I'm going to line him up with this jab, bam, bam, he's already hit you with 2. So then you're thinking about the next shot, and then by the time you think, oh, let me throw this one, bam, bam, he's hit you with 2. So I think he was still overthinking it too much, where he just needed to just fight. He just needed to fight the guy. Kind of your technique just kind of a little bit go out the window and just have a fight with this guy because you can't outbox him. You can't outthink him. I can see you thinking and it's taking too long and it's costing you certain shots. So just go there and have a fight with him. Just have a scrap with him.
But you know what's happening? Weren't you disappointed with some of these pundits who their analysis for the Joshua Usyk second fight? They made that it was like going to be a walk in the park. Use your power, go in there, smash him up. Boxing's not like that. Not like that. Because Usyk was ready for that, mate. You basically were giving the tactics away. All he did was he said, right, no straight lines, circles, then a triangle. And every time he made sure he used his superior hand speed and southpaw stance to get the jab off, and then the backhand punch and the out again, backhand and out again. You know what I mean? When Joshua was trying to get trying to get his uppercut off. You remember when in the later rounds he tried to get his uppercut off, he missed it.
Yeah,
and he missed it because he wants to set up his uppercut for a left hook. And I think that's the thing about it is that it's not as easy to go up these boxers and think, right, I'm going to sit on them. It's like, everyone's talking about, I've seen it many a time. The reason why a boxer beats a hard puncher, not because they go toe to toe, it's because of movement. It's movement. Yeah. You can't knock out what is not there to hit. Doesn't matter how much you go with lovely intentions to box, and then get your right hand off. But hang on it. By the time you're doing that, he's already done boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
uppercut, and he's moved. And then you get frustrated and you make mistakes, and then you leave
And,
yourself open.
and even
You get hurt.
even when you do catch them, you catch them on the move, and it's not like if they're
Exactly.
stationary. Yeah, if they're stationary, you throw everything behind it, they're gonna get hurt. But if you catch them while they're on the way out, or over this side, over that side, on their way, is a glancing shot. So listen, it was a closer fight, but I still think he was still thinking a bit too much, and you could tell, like, what shall I do next? I think, sometimes you just need to just war it out with him a little bit. I'm not saying go gun ho and have a scrap with him, but I think he was still overthinking it a little bit much. And Usyk, he's something else, man. He's something else to carry this skill. And people don't forget, like in the amateurs, he boxed at heavyweight, like he fought Joe Joyce. So he can handle these punches. People just think, look, he took Joshua's punch in the 9th round. Most people would have dropped from that. He stood there, took it, and then come out the stronger in the 10th round. So Usyk's no mug, man. Usyk is no mug in terms of, like, just because he's naturally smaller, he can take punches. He's had heavyweights from the young days, and he went down in weight and then come back up and fought heavyweights again.
You'd be surprised to know. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, going back what you just said then, innit, earlier about the people who don't know boxing. I remember that when because I remember when David Haye fought Klitschko, and I was sat in a room with people, and I said Klitschko is not losing to David Haye. Yeah. And you know what? He schooled him so bad. He backed metal as well. He had to come out with an excuse like my little toe, my little thing. That's how bad he beat him.
Yeah.
You give him a boxing hiding, like, and the meat and the way they put the Sky Sports, David conquered Goliath. This guy is a different kettle of fish to that Goliath guy you put him in a ring with, because you called him David beat Goliath. Klitschko is levels to this. And when Klitschko beat him, he beat him in every boxing department. David Haye's throwing his right hand, slipped it, boom, bam, 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 three in your face. David Haye didn't know what hit him. And I think ever since then, that was his down run. It was Klitschko who destroyed him. That fight there made him the fight never. That fight there ended his career. And that's what I'm saying.
David Haye's a very, very good fighter. But it's one of those fighters that unless you have the skills of Usyk, which he doesn't have, then he was always going to struggle against a big one. But when they say a good big and beats a good small one, only if you can box. You can't. You have to be able to box, and you have to. But if you land, and you just a punch, you have to have the power of Deontay Wilder. Let's not forget, regardless whatever people say about Deontay Wilder, and I think they're a bit disrespectful. Really, doesn't matter if he fought donuts. Let's still knock him out.
Let's not forget, just haters.
Just to forget, he got through Fury 4 times. How long were the counts in one of those fights, if not both of them? Caught in flush as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Someone who can't box, it's still the hardest thing in boxing to knock your opponent
out. But that's what Eddie Hearn said, and I didn't like Eddie Hearn saying that because Eddie Hearn said the other day that Eddie Hearn said Wilder wouldn't win a round against Usyk.
That's just to big up Joshua.
What does that mean? But how can you big up Joshua? Because Joshua lost twice. So what? So now, so you're kind of putting Wilder down, but you're also putting Joshua down, saying, okay, his level is, look, I've won 2 rounds against fucking Usyk. What the fuck?
There's an industry. There's an industry. The thing about boxing nowadays, there's an industry around Anthony Joshua, and there's an industry around Tyson Fury. People who ain't got a clue about boxing are excited to have Tyson Fury as the champion. So they make out their connoisseurs, but they're secretly happy and think, thank God, Tyson Fury's champion. Thank God. Normally someone else is champion. I'll let you work that out yourself, guys. Raw mania. And then you've got the Joshua industry, who if you big up Deontay Wilder and think, well, he's got a puncher's chance of beating Anthony Joshua because he's got a big punch. Oh, you're disrespecting Joshua.
Yeah.
When you're not disrespecting Joshua, you're basically saying that had Tyson Fury not come into the fold, when Deontay Wilder was winning all those fights, knocking man out, I don't remember many people in boxing, or even the casuals, or even the pundits saying that he had no fundamentals. Don't remember anyone saying that. You know, you weren't saying that when he fought. You know, when he fought. Not who's that?
Ortiz.
When he fought Ortiz twice, you know, you might have, oh, maybe, but you're still jumping up and cheering when he knocked him out.
No,
you know what I mean?
But this is the thing about boxing fans, because they're fickle. Because
absolutely.
But for 1 minute they'll say Wilder's fought nobody, blah blah blah, and then on the other hand they'll say Joshua at the time ducked Ortiz. So is Ortiz a good fighter, an elite fighter, which Wilder's beat twice, or is he shit? What is he? So like, just pick which way you're going. Don't use one fighter against another.
You know what? You know what it is? You know what I say about people like stats? It's like football punditry and football fan football. Anyone who looks at the stats and looks at the resumes of fighters, i.e., if you look at the stats of footballers, i.e., how many assists, how many goals they score, or you look at the resumes of fighters, I'm sorry, you don't know the sport. You don't know football. You don't know
the eye test.
You're worming your way in. You're just using that to back up your argument. But hang on, you don't know about the fact that, you know, the hardest thing to do in boxing is knocking someone out. You don't talk about footwork, or you talk about I know more because he don't know why there can't be Anthony Joshua because he lost to Tyson Fury. Oh, that means anyone
like
can
that.
beat Deontay Wilder. Everyone wants to fight Deontay Wilder. They think they can beat him up until they get that right hand in their chops.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just people want to see these fights, but I think Joshua, everyone's saying, oh, he's gonna get battered, Tyson's gonna destroy him. But bro, what people don't realize, as fans don't realize, as boxing fans gotta realize, as boxing fans realize, Joshua is the same size, and he's not punching down no more. He'll be punching up. So it's not gonna be no walk in the park like people think it is. And if anything, right, it's a tactical fight, bro.
No, it's a tactical fight as well. And we need to remember we've seen Fury not just dropped by Wilder, he was also dropped by Steve Cunningham, who was a cruiserweight. So let's remember that for all how great Fury is, and I'm picking him to beat Joshua, he can still be hurt. And
the thing with Joshua is his weight, innit? You know that he got to get his weight right. There's no in between. He can't come in too big because he's gonna. You know that he's gonna run out. Look at Deontay Wilder in the third fight, 4 or 5 rounds out of gas. You just measure him up and take him out. But if you come in too small, Tyson Fury's going to sit on him and tee off. So you've got to get that. You've got to get that balance between your natural power, which you've not already got, and the athleticism as well.
But do you think it's? Well, I think it's a smart move that they've kind of backed Joshua into this corner now, where he has to accept the fight, and he hasn't really got that long to get to that perfect right weight where he feels comfortable, because December's 100%. Around the corner, and it's the first week of December. It's not the end of December. It's the first week of December. So let's not forget, after the last fight, he may have put on social media that he was training, but he probably shut off for a good week or two, where behind the scenes, Fury knew, okay, we're going to offer him this fight, because they had Cardiff booked already. So they knew they were planning something already. So they probably already 2 or 3 weeks in advance more than where Joshua is. So I just think it's a smart move on their hand that they knew that Principality was booked. They probably knew, look, Joshua would take a 60-40 at this time because it's still a great deal, 60-40 after 2 losses. So everything that the mind games and everything they're doing is to make sure everything's in Fury's court. And like I said, the training camp, they've probably been training for him for time. All that time you saying he was retired, he's probably been getting ready for Anthony Joshua.
Why do you think he hasn't retired? If Anthony Joshua retired or was injured, Tyson Fury would have stuck to his guns about retirement. He has no desire to fight Usyk. I'm sorry that to a lot of fans out there said, "Oh yeah, we want to just cut your excitement, mate. Cut it down, mate. You don't know the rules of boxing, right? If you're not happy with it, go and watch UFC. It's all about money." So Anthony Joshua is a goose that lays the golden egg. Everyone knows it. He Tyson Fury wants to be Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua fills out every stadium, indoor and outdoor. He's a pay-per-view fighter. He can sell a fight, but because he's Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury can't sell a fight. He can talk about all the riddles and all the things he says he's going to do. Still not on Joshua's level. Let's not forget, had it not been for Tyson Fury's, the empathy towards his mental health, and let's not forget when he came back from came to Manchester after beating Usyk. I don't remember there being a fanfare for him. In fact, the British public hated him because of his controversial views, innit? Yeah, Klitschko fight, and he's they all like him now because of simple reasons that what we like in England. I say that respectfully because I'm a massive fan of both of them, but respectfully, two buzzwords get you empathy, mental and health.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that, but that's what's happened. Now, I personally think Tyson Fury was suspended because he failed a drug test.
A lot of people said that.
I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I know you're not the first person, but I look at it like this, though, Van. See, I look at it like this. I think Joshua, when he lost to Usyk, I think he went to the drawing board and thought the only guy I can look now to is Tyson. And I know Tyson's going to call me out.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he did.
I don't think so.
I think, and
I think, go on.
The reason why I say that is because Tyson Fury was already saying it before the fight was happened. When Usyk beats you again, I'll fight you again, you sausage, you big dog, you this and that. So Joshua already thought, okay, I'll take the fight straight away. Because another thing is, the reason why Joshua, people are like questioning, he just had a fight. But his fitness is going to continue. He's going to be better. Because his downfall was that he had one fight a year. Tyson Fury was fighting 3 fights a year.
Yeah, but there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a financial reason why Joshua fights. I think people seem to forget about Anthony Joshua. There's a lot of big business behind his fights. There's a lot of promotions, a lot of stuff. I mean, the guys must have sponsorships. He might have sponsorships that are more than our fingers and toes. That's how big Anthony Joshua is. It's a massive operation to put on an Anthony Joshua fight, and to do it twice a year is almost impossible because of the fact that the preparation, the TV interviews, the fact you've got to try and sell it to all the 4 corners, which he does, and then it's a stadium booking and everything. By the time you've done it, you made all your money. To have all that money to do it again, I can understand. But Tyson Fury, and I say it respectfully, he doesn't have that law. But that's not slagging off Tyson Fury. Say he's not a big money fight because he's become one. But let's not. I say this respectfully. When Anthony Joshua was at his pomp, Tyson Fury was making his name back in the United States.
Yeah, but going back to what Fuad said, part of me thinks, they were planning for Fury, but then part of me thinks, actually, no, they were probably thinking, because this guy talks shit. Because listen, like I said, I'm backing Fury to beat Joshua. I think he beats him. But 1 week Fury saying he's fighting the guy from UFC, bloody Ngannou. Next minute he's at the WWE punching someone. Next week he's saying he's retired. Next week, so none of these guys are actually taking him his word serious. Because he says a lot of things in the media, and Eddie Hearns called him out on this as well. After was it the first Wilder fight? He said he donated his £7 million to charity.
Waffle.
What charity? He didn't donate it, but he used the right words to say it, and people just fell for it. Sometimes you got to call his bluff. So are you retiring? Are you fighting Ngannou? Are you going back to the WWE? What are you doing? So I don't think they fully planned for this contract. I think they snap his hands off, and they do think he can. Joshua can beat Fury, but I don't think they were planning for this. I think they were maybe planning for a Dillian White kind of fight, because that sells still. Because they still got beef. There's still the 2 Londoners. They're both coming off a loss. One to Fury, one to Usyk. It still sells that fight. And yeah, I think what's the name then gets the cash out, Dillian White, because obviously he had his one cash out fight, but I don't see him ever getting to that elite level unless Fury, Usyk, and all them decide to leave. I don't see where he wins the world title unless he goes for one of them WBA regular titles if he wants to claim that.
Who, Joshua?
What's the name? Dillian White.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Dillian White's got the only way Dillian White gets world titles if he fights for it again. If he somehow finds a way to beat the elite.
Maybe just it'd be Joshua Dillian White for December. That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know if this fight will happen in December, but if it does, I think Fury's played a blinder where he's been planning, he's been training for a while. He's been telling people he's retired, but really he's been prepping for Joshua. He'll come in at the perfect weight. Everything will be in his court for the fight.
But
fights happen, things can happen. You can walk onto a punch.
But Vandy, I know what you're saying, but at the same time, bro, you gotta look at it like this. It ain't like Joshua's no mug too. He's a really smart boy.
Listen.
So he knows for him to take the fight, Joshua most probably like he sat down with his corner, with his trainer, and said, "You know what? Take the fight."
No, listen. He's going
to come into this fight in shape. He's not going to come as a tired Joshua.
Without doubt, fool, these guys really think they can beat Tyson Fury on a 8-week training camp, on a 12-week training camp. They believe, they've obviously seen where he's got dropped before. They obviously, look, styles make fights, so certain people beat certain people. But Tyson Fury's feet are not as good as Usyk's feet.
Yes.
Tyson Fury.
Yes. And that's the thing that I'm so glad someone noticed that.
Yeah. No, because everyone says, "Oh, Tyson moves for the big, for the big guy."
He used to, but he
doesn't move like Usyk. He doesn't move like Usyk. When have you ever seen him pivot and spin around like the speed that he just does it? Because he's so big, you think, fucking hell, that's good. But his feet are not really quick like Usyk's. They're just good for the big man for his size.
How did Wilder get to him twice?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's just a myth, and it's not a myth, but it's just a common thing. Go back to, not to put anyone down as a casual, but they see someone that's 6'7", 8", whatever he is, fucking 19 stone, and he's bouncing around. They're thinking, fucking hell, he's a wizard with his feet. But no, he's just good for his feet for the big guy. He's not amazing.
What do you think these guys will say? I can just imagine these people. If Tyson Fury loses, what are they going to say then? Oh, he's not a good boxer, and then you're going to see them for what they are. That they're not serious boxing fans.
Yeah,
is that they just they sometimes when I hear people talk about our fighters, I think they're kids. That it's a playground. The way they analyse boxing and boxers, and that's not their fault.
A lot of it's based around. So they'll hear their favorite person on TV with one view, and they'll just stick with it. Like, rather than having your own view, like you said about stats and stuff in football, and people just go straight to the stats. Actually, just sit and watch a game of football, and that'll tell you who the best player is on the pitch. The eye test will tell you who's the best player on the pitch. If you look at Iniesta's stats, I know I'm moving from boxing into football. But you think, fucking hell, he wasn't great. He didn't, not many goals. But you watch him play, it's completely different. Yeah. So that's why you just need the eye test rather than listen to what people are saying.
Sports fans use they use a biased eye test. They use a biased eye test, and then when you called out their favourite sportsman, i.e. footballer, i.e. Mesut Ozil before at Arsenal, and I know people calling out Fernandes Man United, but if you talk about Bosca's, Wilder's got no fundamentals. He's fought this and that. He ain't fought level. Joshua's blah blah. What about using your eye test? The fact is, he's knocking man out. He's putting man on the floor. People you put in front of him, he's knocking him out. You know, he was sat on, and he was tactically and physically outworked by Fury. And then what's happened? He ran out of gas. No one gives the guy any credit for the fact that he was behind in the first fight and he still found a way to nearly nick it. No one gives him any credit for the fact that despite what happened to him in the second fight, he didn't retreat. He got over the knockdown, what I call a flash knockdown, where he made a mistake in the third round. Next round, took him out twice. No one gives him any credit because he can't fight. He's got no fundamentals, but he's still not.
And you go back to that first fight. If the ref does his job properly and counts properly, Fury loses that fight.
Yeah.
Wilder probably doesn't have to fight him again, and then he probably goes on to fight Anthony Joshua, and then this whole love hype thing around Tyson Fury just isn't there.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing about some people. You want to shake them sometimes when they talk about boxing. They ain't got a clue. And when you clearly catch them out of facts, they start getting, oh, you're blah, blah. You know, there's a lot of people in boxing who have got no business being in the sport. No business at all. But the fact is that they don't bring the money in. They bring the money in. We don't. I know, like, don't get me wrong, I'll go to watch these big fights. I pay the money. I've even paid for the pay-per-views. But I can think of about loads of boxing fans. No, I'm not doing that no more. Nah, not doing that. Send us a link. Go on, send us a link, mate. Nah, I'm not doing that no more. Nah. You know what I mean? And I don't blame them. People who love the sport and the boxing people don't pay the bills.
Yeah.
Hence the fact that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, they go on like countrywide tours on these TV shows, knowing full well that half the people that are petting them and ask for autographs and filling up the muscles ain't got a Scooby about boxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. I'm not being horrible, but the casuals paid the way. They paid the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, people, it's time to wrap it up. Just wrap it up now. And it's been great having Kenny Kane and Randy on the show.
Randy, nice to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you too, man. We'll definitely have to.
Vandy, next time we're gonna get. I inbox a few of the fighters today, so hopefully next time we'll try and get them on.
Amazing,
Give me enough notice, so I'll make myself available.
I will. But it's been brilliant having you on, and like we've had Kenny on and the thing on, and people, man, the boxing knowledge today has been amazing by both of you. So peace out, people.
Nice one, Food. Nice one, Ken.
Nice one, Food. I'm gonna have to get me dinner because I've been called for dinner. So I'll see you later.
Nice
See you later. See ya.
Nice one, bro.
Ciao, man. Ciao.